We're cooking 100 years of Disney food. The goal, cook iconic recipes from every single decade that the Walt Disney Company has been making movies. We're talking the Sleeping Beauty cake, Mulan's breakfast, Ratatouille, obviously. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this is not our expertise. We are used to running around the theme parks, going to every Disney park in the country in one day, riding every ride in Magic Kingdom, or turning reality TV into Disney YouTube videos. So cooking is like a whole new ball game for us. Started going to the grocery store with a very long list, 20 recipes as movie accurate in appearance as possible. It kind of seemed daunting.
She's overwhelmed by the size of our grocery list. It's like multiple pages of that notebook.
And spoiler alert, it was daunting. It was nerve-wracking.
You doing okay up there, bud?
So first we couldn't even get groceries super successfully.
Emma, how do you select a ripe papaya?
It was a long list. It took us 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and we still didn't even manage to get everything.
Hey, Emma, quick question. How many corners are you willing to cut?
I don't even know what we got. I just know we were missing out on some integral ingredients. I'm looking at the kumandra soup specifically.
Like hypothetically, if there's not a single hazelnut or chestnut in this store, would you be willing to make almond soup? No. The internet says it's okay. We're in the car. We've acquired all of our groceries. It was $237 and 61 cents for everything we need for all the recipes. Give or take some pieces that we may have made some replacements of.
And some staples like salt, pepper.
Yeah, like stuff I had at my house. So we'll see how this goes. I did have fish sauce already.
Yeah.
Emma put it on the list and I was like, take that off of there. You don't have fish sauce?
But we got oyster sauce too, so.
Oh, I think I have oyster sauce.
Well, we now have double the oyster sauce.
Double the oyster sauce, double the fun. That's what I always say.
That's what I love to say too.
But we are going to go to Starbucks and Taco Bell.
Shh, I don't need to know.
Sorry.
I mean, every chef needs to be able to pay attention to what they're creating, and they can't do that on an empty stomach.
And we need inspiration.
We need to get excited. It's like when you're shopping on an empty stomach, you shouldn't do it because you make mistakes.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be cooking on an empty stomach.
So we get home, we unpack the groceries, and as we're there, we realize Quincy doesn't even have enough room in her refrigerator.
Big dilemma that you guys don't know about yet is that Quincy did not clean her fridge out at all, and we bought a lot of groceries. So
to be fair, there's like nothing bad in my fridge. Like it's like
no,
I
it's nothing
can't
bad.
clean it out.
It's
like my food is in there.
Throw it away.
Throw away
we
my
talked
food.
about this.
I'm not gonna throw away
I'm
my
making you
food.
your food.
21.
You're having gooseberry pie for breakfast. It's midday.
It's midday.
It's 2 p.m.
We couldn't get gooseberries.
We could not get, oh my gosh, we couldn't get gooseberries. You guys might have already seen that. I don't know how this is gonna be edited, so you might not know. First things first that I wanna get out of the way before we start is things are gonna be wrong. And really this is about us having fun, and it's an homage to Disney food that you see on screen. We're going for visual
screen accuracy.
Yes, we are not going for the Michelin star winning dishes.
Yes.
We're going for, that kind of looks like a thing I saw in the 1930s.
I think I've refrigerated all meats and dairy products.
That's really all that matters.
And I'm gonna say I think, and you're gonna have to be happy with that.
And it was time to kick it off for the 1930s. So for the 1930s, it starts with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is the original Disney princess, the first Disney film he had ever made like this, 1937, and we just felt like it was appropriate to pay homage with the famous gooseberry pie that she makes for Grumpy, and she writes his name on it.
Starting off bad, 2 cans of gooseberries, we don't have that. However, Google said rhubarb is a great replacement for that. So we got that, we got unsalted butter, we have our pie crust, we have a pie dish, and we have our cornstarch. So yes, I believe we are ready. Are you going to that meeting?
I canceled that meeting.
Okay.
This one luckily was pretty straightforward though. It really only needed sugar, cornstarch, salt, 2 15-ounce cans of gooseberries, which we replaced.
Have you ever had rhubarb?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have either.
Well, it smells really interesting.
I don't like the way it smells either.
Although, who's to say that we were gonna like gooseberry?
Well, now we'll never know, I guess. Okay.
What if we just listened to royalty-free music?
I think I would die. I think we should watch the movies.
Oh, we
that
should watch
as
the movies that we're cooking.
And so like we're not going to be able to finish all of them, but we can watch bits and pieces. And then it'll really keep our engagement up.
Our engagement.
Because we're just constantly.
And then when the pie comes on the
Turning
screen,
on
we'll be
different.
like, ha! Now here's my question. Do we think we can cook all of these recipes faster than we can make it through every movie that we're cooking a recipe from?
Yes.
Here's one thing to remember. One of them is a short.
No.
It's only one.
1 tablespoon of unsalted butter, and then an optional 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, plus pastry for a double crust 9-inch pie. All we had to do was preheat the oven to 425 degrees. We drained the berries and reserved some of the syrup.
What is rhubarb? It looks like salami a little bit. Like this looks like a Vienna sausage right there.
Did you say Vienna? I said Vienna. I don't like the smell.
It's not, it's tastes better than it smells.
In a saucepan, we mixed the sugar, cornstarch, and salt, and then we added the reserved syrup, and we cooked over medium heat for 5 to 6 minutes, or pretty much until it thickened, and I do think it took us a little bit longer than that.
Okay, you've got to make it say grumpy.
Yeah,
and you
I'm gonna
need
work
to make
on
it look
grumpy.
just like Snow White does.
Yeah. I can't even do Snow. Like I don't think I can do Snow White.
I think you can do Snow White.
I think I can.
We took it off the heat, we added the butter, and then the rhubarb.
Wait, I want to get an action shot.
Oh.
Where's the DJI?
Oh, wait, that's me. Okay.
Ready, rhubarb
Ready.
action shot incoming.
Rhubarb action shot.
I mean, like it looks a little bit like
Action.
sausage.
Don't worry, you guys. Nothing's on fire. It's just sugar burning.
So then we stirred until the butter was melted.
But sometimes things just have to be made with a little bit of love.
Well, everything we're making today is going to be made with a little love.
But what if our love isn't strong enough or bright enough to stop Nikki's nightmares?
We poured it onto the bottom of a 9-inch pie plate that we had already put some pastry on the bottom of, and then we poured the heated the berry filling into it.
Hi.
It's an egg wash, right, to make them
Hang
like
on,
golden brown?
this is an exciting moment, right? Where's the DJI? Over there.
We put the crust on top and we sealed the edges with a fork.
On the edges, like she does. Hers are prettier, but she's also animated.
And we don't endorse unrealistic expectations for women.
That's exactly right. You know, we love her. Maybe let's be honest about our fork and pie skills.
I think we're getting close to the pie scene.
And then I kind of got nervous and I did take off what was left. We took the second piece of pie crust and I kind of wrote out grumpy on my own and then reconstructed it on top of the actual pie. We baked it. I tried to put an egg wash on top so it would be golden brown.
No strings.
I got no strings to hold me down to make me. We're not there yet. I did not mean to threaten you with a knife.
I'm just trying to make an egg wash, man.
But Quincy didn't have a brush, so I used my hands and it didn't go super great, but it was better than nothing.
Pies don't explode, right?
We baked it at about 425 degrees for 15 minutes, and then we lowered the temperature to about 350, and we baked it for another 20, and essentially until it was golden brown. Honestly, it went okay, so we might as well taste it.
1930s.
30s.
Our only recipe was the Snow White Grumpy Pie. So
Formerly known as gooseberry, now choosing to be called
rhubarb. Yeah. Do you want to film or cut?
No, you got this.
I don't know that I do.
I mean, do you actually want me to cut it?
No,
I just don't. I don't know that I'm the person.
Doing it.
Clumpy.
Oh, I mean that went through real nice.
It gave a nice little. We've
Yeah.
let this cool down quite a bit.
a lot. Cheers.
Cheers. It's not bad at all.
It's fine.
It's fine. We don't like rhubarb.
I like the rhubarb a lot better in this context than I did when I tried it straight out of the can.
It is significantly better. It's super, super sweet. We just did one of the pre-made pie crust, but it's really nice and flaky with the egg wash on it. I really like it. I use these a lot when I make chicken pot pie. I don't think it's bad. I think it's pretty good. I would have been really eager to try some gooseberry. I actually think it's really good. It's edible. And I think that there are people who wouldn't really enjoy this.
Mine's not true. I think if you like rhubarb, you like this.
Yeah, but
Which that means I'm proud of us.
huge first win.
Now, we will be rating every single recipe on the classic all-ear scale of magic or tragic. There are 3 options: magic, tragic, or just agic, which is when it's kind of average. I am gonna give this one an agic.
Oh, I was gonna give it a magic.
Really?
Actually. Because even though it's not my absolute favorite thing in the world, I think it's a really nice sweet pie dessert.
Yeah, I mean, I think we made a pie here, and we've never made a pie before.
Yeah.
So good for us.
I'm gonna give it a soft magic.
Yeah.
Leaning on agic.
I'm gonna give it an agic, just like objectively, but I'm gonna give it a magic on the way the experience made me feel.
Okay, so I think that's what I did.
Yeah.
Okay, not
All right.
bad.
That is the 1930s. On to the 40s. This is Stromboli's French bread. There weren't a lot of recipes available from the 1940s or a lot of food in Disney movies in the 1940s. So Pinocchio is our champion of the 1940s. Stromboli's French bread being the food we pulled because it was that or a whole fish.
And we really don't want to make a whole fish.
So we are making French bread from scratch.
It's literally from scratch. I've never done this. Have you ever done this?
I have made bread from scratch. No, I've stood next to people while they make bread from scratch.
I think that is a very important distinction. Is that gonna happen again today?
Most likely.
I'm ready to go.
We had to use some active yeast, some sugar, 2 cups of warm water, some salt, some flour, some yellow cornmeal, and 1 egg yolk mixed with a tablespoon of water.
Now, do you have an electric food mixer?
No, but I have a magic bullet. Oh wait, like a mixer? Yeah. Why would you say it like that? Electric mixer?
That's not what it's called.
That's literally what it says.
It's called just a regular mixer.
Can you guys defend me? Because it is electric.
Nobody calls it an electric mixer.
No one calls a bullet an electric mixer.
I thought you meant like a food processor.
Yeah, but that's not called a mixer.
Well, that's neither is this. This is called a KitchenAid.
No, can you?
I have a very cute KitchenAid actually.
I do too. I have a white one.
Mine's
So is
yellow.
yours. I love yellow. Okay, with a dough hook.
Where should I put this?
Probably just
Next
right
to the
here.
stove, right
Can we
there.
put it there? Or wait, I guess we'll need it here. You can put it there.
We'll need it here.
We used an electric mixer with a dough hook. We added the yeast, the sugar, and the warm water for about 2 minutes until the yeast dissolved. We added the salt and the flour, and then with the mixer on low, we mixed until the dough started to come together.
It's happening! Look!
We're making bread right now.
We're making bread!
We kind of increased the heat until it came away from the sides of the bowl and started to kind of go up the dough hook, which we weren't really sure what that looked like, but I think we got it.
Not to 50! Not to 50! Don't put your hand in there. Emma?
We greased the mixing bowl with some oil, and then we placed the dough in the greased bowl and turned it over. We covered it with some plastic, and then we just kind of sat it on the counter for a while. Until it doubled in size, it was about an hour and a half. Now technically, we did start our next recipe while that was rising.
I made a mistake.
I bet you can.
What? I made a mistake.
What do you do?
I touched the bread, it deflated.
Why did you do that?
I wanted to touch the bread.
I got on the floor for 4 minutes.
But once it rose,
Excuse me, y'all. I'm just gonna take them off. Sorry.
we removed it from the bowl.
Dough.
And then we put it on some flour. We divided it into 2 equal parts. We patted each one and
I hope it just jump cuts to that.
into about a 3/4 inch thick large rectangle. I rolled it up a little bit, and this is where I got a little lost. It said to turn each one fully, press the edge of the roll firmly into the flat sheet of dough to seal it, and then press with my fingertips, tuck and roll. I wasn't really entirely sure what that meant, so I did my best to tuck and roll.
Now hold on.
Then I sprinkled the baking sheet with about 2 tablespoons of cornmeal. Put everything on the baking sheet, sprinkled it with some more cornmeal, And then we let it rise again, another hour. So we went back to the other recipe we were working on, preheated that oven to about 400 degrees, and then we made some diagonal slashes. And this is again, I attempted to do another egg wash, same issue as the first egg wash. We baked it for a little bit, and they actually turned out a lot better than I anticipated. I was not entirely sure how this was gonna go. Let's just taste it and see how it goes.
Oh, so sorry. We were watching our Instagram stories.
He's gonna use that.
He's so gonna use it. Okay, we have here our bread. This is our representative of the 1940s. Pinocchio is the film we want to represent. Our options were the French bread that Stromboli eats or the whole fish that Figaro eats. And we did not want to gut a fish.
Nope, we did not.
So we are having the whole bread, which we did make from scratch.
First time ever.
Yeah, our first pie was in the 1930s, and this is our first ever time making bread.
It's not looking great. Oh gosh.
I got through it. Relax.
Okay, the inside looks very nice.
Yeah, this is the inside of our bread.
It's gonna
Look at my face. Focus on the bread.
There
Yeah,
it is.
inside of our bread, airy, bubbly.
Yeah.
We've also got that French bread sound on it. I'm just gonna tear.
Yeah. Just give it a tear. Now, are we allowed to add some butter to this bad boy, or just like go
Yeah,
in?
if you want to get up and go get the butter.
I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ty.
Cheers. Honestly, this reminds me of just like normal restaurant bread.
It's just like normal restaurant bread.
It's just normal restaurant bread.
I feel like I'm sitting on a
Oh,
Disney
right,
cruise. You know when they bring you bread on a Disney cruise? That's exactly
This is
what
the bread on a
like.
Disney cruise. I'm pretty proud of this actually. This is super easy. It makes me feel very capable. And I think you could cut this up and serve it to your guests, and they wouldn't know.
I'm really happy with the texture we got out of it, which I'm sure some like, if you're in the watching this and you're like a seasoned bread maker, you're probably like,
This is bad bread.
that looks dense as all get out and horrific. And maybe, but it was our first time.
It was our first. I mean, I think there's a lot of area improvement.
Yep.
For improvement,
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna give this one a magic.
but I was gonna go Adjic.
Really? We're so opposites.
Well, I think we're both. It's just different vibes.
Yeah, like I think
would
this
get
is a
this
stellar
out.
bread.
No.
But I think it's a fine bread, and I think that it like again, if I was served this at a restaurant, I wouldn't be mad. So that's a magic to me.
That's fair.
All right, headed on to the 1950s. This is our first triple recipe decade, which was incredibly nerve-wracking and daunting. We were feeling good so far. So it was time to start on the Eat Me cookies from Alice in Wonderland in 1951. This was Quincy's toughest personal battle.
Okay, we are.
Okay, team. We're back in business. We took a cleaning break.
I'll be the king you wanted. You'll be the queen I need. And on and on and on and on. Let's get together. I'm a lion lover and I want your love.
But we let the movies
Oh my
keep
god, I
going.
forgot about the cookies.
Do we set a timer for that?
No, I don't think I did. But they don't look burnt. They don't look
They
good.
look
They
crispy.
look bad, but they do not look burnt.
Well,
They
let's
smell
go
good.
ahead. Let's go ahead and get them out.
And I stepped in with the icing and the letters. I luckily haven't had enough foresight to grab some black icing that was easy to write with and already in a pre-made tube, and just made our lives a lot easier.
Obviously, the black is not necessarily screen accurate, but it was the easiest choice, I think.
I think that these are screen accurate enough.
Now that was the first of our triple recipes. In 1955, we tried to tackle Lady of the Tramp, and this was another one Quincy started working on.
But we don't need the other half for something else?
We have a whole other onion, don't we?
No, I know, but in my head I was like,
We
okay,
can save-
4 things.
We can save it. We'll save it.
Just take this much and put that in the beef.
I'll just use onion powder. It's fine. We'll suffer texturally, but it's what it is.
No, I'm cutting more. I'm cutting it tinier.
That's not more.
I'm cutting it tinier. And just put a little in the...
But then the sauce will suffer.
Not true. This is a ripe onion. I'm telling you, I think it'll gain. Because at the end of the day, you're still eating cinnamon and onion. It's just in 2 different forms.
This is like onion girl math.
I'm just telling you.
You just keep saying stuff.
I've girl mathed it and it's working. Okay, there's your oatmeal.
Luckily, this one is iconic and easy. It was really straightforward. We actually got this one off of our own website, but we had taken it from a Disney recipe. So we had a pound of spaghetti, some ground beef, an egg, breadcrumbs, onion powder, salt, and pepper. And then the sauce was just crushed tomatoes, half an onion, garlic cloves, oregano, and olive oil.
We'll let you guys in on a secret.
We'll let you in. Fine.
We are taking pictures of all the ingredients all together. Emma has informed me this is called a mise en place, which I did not know. And
I believe. If I'm wrong, shout at me.
She could have made that up. But we are putting all the ingredients together. Where did I put the lid of it? Over here? Mm-hmm. We're putting all the ingredients together and take pictures for the website so that when we talk about the recipes and making the recipes, they're all there. There's like pictures we can use. And we did forget to do this before I opened the ground beef. So we are using ground pork in the photo and just covering the word pork with the egg.
We just had to preheat the oven for the meatballs. We boiled the pasta. We placed the beef, egg, and breadcrumbs, onion powder, salt, and pepper, and then we mixed it all. That was the meatballs. We just had to shape them onto a non-stick baking sheet, and then we baked them until they were brown. The sauce, again, was super easy. We added it over medium heat and added olive oil to a medium saucepan. We took the chopped onion and garlic and sauteed it, and then we poured in some crushed tomatoes and brought it to a simmer. That's how easy that was. This felt like a really big win for us because it looked nice. And again, we're just going for looks. For our third, we did the 1959 Sleeping Beauty birthday cake. Now this was my cross. Quincy's cross was the Alice in Wonderland cookies. This one was mine.
We're pretty scared of this cake.
I'm mainly scared because there's not any real prep. Like, we're just going about this.
Yeah, and it's like mostly, like we're using cake mix. But it's mostly like a decoration, situation.
It's a decoration situation.
And presentation situation.
And there's not really a Disney recipe
no
on this.
So we're using funfetti.
Funfetti, some icing, and I'm assuming we're gonna need more icing, but we're doing like a mini version, so maybe not.
Maybe not.
When it comes to recipes, we didn't really have one, okay? That's where the frustration really starts. There wasn't one. So we just grabbed a box cake of cake that we like.
I'm so nervous. What do I do?
And that's show tunes, baby.
I'm so nervous.
What do I do?
My mom or college? What are they worried about in show tunes? Everything.
My mom or college? What happened to the mom?
Well, she's scared because it's far away. I don't know.
Oh, stay with her mom or go to college.
I have to, who do I say?
Moms usually want you to go to college.
No, it's far away.
The mom in this is like, do not go to college.
Well, my mom is like, did you think I didn't want you to go to college?
Your mom,
I'm gonna have to be like,
your
no.
mom calls you right now in the video. Like,
Mom, no.
my mom or college.
That's so show tunes.
Will you take a video of me making this maple?
We chose funfetti, and there is kind of a way to plus up your box cake mix. So we ended up just going on Pinterest and finding ways to do that. And then I realized pretty much immediately that this would be difficult. So I thought, what if we did a mini version with cupcakes and tried to make our lives a little bit easier?
Because of the bread?
Now, what happened there?
I wasn't paying attention. And the egg yolk fell right out. But you know what I just managed to actually do? Pull that whole egg yolk out.
Yeah, I saw. I was actually pretty impressed.
Me too.
And I thought that maybe like it was something that was normal for you. Hang on. Where's the Deej?
Deej?
Deej? Deej? Deej? Deej?
Hidden Mickey. No, you ruined him. Mickey doesn't have 3 ears.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
Red Riding Hood reference.
We bought the icing pre-made, we had some candles, and we had a dream.
Oh, I thought you were doing Frozen.
I was.
Oh, okay.
At one point it does end that way.
when Elsa starts the call and response.
When I say, you say.
This was rough. This was serious. We were not prepared. Eventually, and you'll see this, we had a harrowing moment where the first cake fell.
Piping is so easy.
Fix one. 2 people working on one. It did not hit the ground. And that is all that matters.
I knew that was gonna happen.
We're in it right now. It's happening and we're in it.
All's well that ends well, as they say.
When I walk back in here with a hot glue gun,
we pull a cake, boys. This is all Rice Krispie treat.
I'm still kind of peeved about it.
Emma has icing on her face and in her hair on both sides. But
There
look
she
at
is.
her.
Our tiny little cake.
She's in existence.
We really struggled. It's kind of like, it does feel good to see the failure next to her because we definitely learned.
There was an improvement.
The one thing I will say is like it did run well, but the blue is so runny that the yellow won't hold on to it. And we also are gonna do something bigger so we don't have a brush.
Yeah, and it is the inside of this cake. It's a bone cake.
It's boned cake. It's a boba straw.
There's a boba straw
Holding it
as
up.
well as several skewers inside the cake, but it
There's
looks like from
actually-
the movie.
It does kind of look like from the movie. There's also only one skewer this time because the boba straw did much better.
Okay, all right. Welcome to the 50s. This was a trying era for us.
This was probably not our best work.
no, but we are going to have some tastes.
We've noticed there's lots of sugar here in the
A
beginning.
lot of sugar here in the beginning.
we've
That's
made
gonna
it-
change.
It's gonna change, but we finally made it to Wonderland.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try out some cookies.
Some of our Alice in Wonderland
Going
cookies.
for an eat me.
And I'm going for bite me because I thought it's funny that Emma said one that said that.
One of them did say that.
I don't know. Cheers. Cheers.
Okay. The icing helps a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot. Mm-hmm. For me.
Me too.
We tried some of the cookie before it was ice and we hated it. Mm-hmm. Full transparency.
It just didn't have any, it was like it had no sugar.
It tasted like a shortbread cookie.
It had a cup of sugar. The recipe we followed for this was in video form. It was from the Disney Family YouTube channel. Because when we could, we tried to use official Disney recipes. I just do not think it was a great cookie recipe. The dough was, or I did something wrong. Both are possible.
Both valid.
The dough was really frustrating to work with. And
We had a whole batch of chocolate dough and it did not get used.
Yeah, and
because it was such a mess.
it was literally so it was so sticky. No matter how much flour I used, it was rough. I had a hard time with this. But these taste fine with the icing.
I'm really enjoying it with the icing.
I don't know that I really enjoy it, but also I hate these with a burning passion for what they did to me in the kitchen.
Well, no, that's fair.
So I think that maybe that is coloring my experience.
I'm really enjoying it. I think the icing on top is adding what I was missing. It's soft. This is not going to be the best cookie you're ever going to have, but I think I just dropped it. But I do think I lost all my letters. What are you thinking? I'm leaning magic.
I'm gonna go Agic.
I think Magic is I'm struggling. I say I'm leaning Magic because I'm struggling because I don't think it's Magic and I don't think it's Magic. So we'll go Magic. I'll give it a Magic just so that way.
And I give it an
evens
Magic,
the
it
score.
balances, yeah.
All right. First
This-
of the 50s
This is our first multi-recipe decade.
Would you like to try?
Want the cookies?
Yeah, I bit on the blue one if you don't want the whole one.
Next up, we do have the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti and meatballs. I'm really happy
so
with how
excited.
these look.
Yeah.
Because although I was not loving the spaghetti, I make a lot of spaghetti. I
make a
make
lot of
homemade spaghetti sauce. I make homemade meatballs a lot. The recipe, the actual official Disney Tony's famous spaghetti recipe, was the single most basic spaghetti recipe I've ever seen.
It was like if I saw this on a restaurant, I would not order that recipe.
We actually did switch it up, adding onions to the meatballs because they didn't have any onions in them. But you know, it's spaghetti with tomato sauce and meatballs, so I'm pretty jazzed about it.
Here, I'm gonna start spaghetti.
Me too.
Honestly, I like it. It's just noodles though. It's not hard to mess up. Like
No.
Let's try the meatball.
The sauce is super simple. Like it's like the sauce was literally like crushed tomatoes, oregano, stewed onions, and garlic. I think it tastes like that, but it's well seasoned and it does just kind of taste, it does just kind of taste classic. Again, I think there's a lot of things to be done to soup up spaghetti and meatballs and none of them were done here, but they were feeding it to dogs, so.
So true. Dogs are gonna die for this. They would die if you rolled up with this.
I'm giving this a magic.
I'm gonna give it a magic too.
For sure, magic.
The meatballs are good though.
I do like the meatballs.
I'm really enjoying them. I'm glad we added onion to the meatball. The bane of my existence.
Again, the 50s had some enemies for us.
The 50s came out with hands and they won. They had us in the first half, I'm not gonna lie. This is my rendition of the Sleeping Beauty cake.
I am really proud of you. I think this looks amazing.
Thank you.
I think it took 2 tries. This is the second cake we made.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I just got all amazing.
I got cake, but if I didn't know I got cake.
I clearly went to town on the icing. Again, we're here for visual aspects. It's just cake. It's just a funfetti.
Yeah, we made funfetti box cake, and that's what it tastes like. It mostly tastes like icing because it is mostly going down.
Super sweet.
I'm giving this an adjunct.
I'm giving it adjunct as well. Just because it's just flavor-wise, it's just a normal box cake.
For me, like, honestly,
it's very
it's
hard.
just too much icing. If it was less icing, I would be like, this is a magic. But I think that visually it's a magic for me. I think that we pulled off probably the hardest presentation that is going to happen. And it took us, like, we had to like discuss how we wanted to do this.
This was like real. This
like
was
strategy
real
was made. This is not something that we have found online, anybody else doing. This is something that Emma and I did from scratch. I'm like proud of us today.
I'm very proud that we managed this, the mini version in particular, because there are professional chefs that have done this on like TikTok and it looks to die for. And we're just not ever going to be at that level.
No.
And as long as you know your limitations when you're in the kitchen, it's fine.
Yeah, we're good at Disney challenges.
I'm very proud
We're
of
doing
this.
Disney challenges. And also, if you want to try any of these, we'll show you what it actually looks like to make them instead of those Pinterest. Like,
yeah, we are Pinterest in real life.
we're what? Yeah, it's when Pinterest in real life happens. Yeah.
Delicious. On to the next.
It's almost like they knew we needed a break. So for the 1960s, Disney went really easy on us. We went the 1967 Jungle Book and we did the Paw Paw skewers. This was so easy. This was my job and I was so grateful for it.
Have we discussed why we chose this one?
Oh, no, I guess not. We
We didn't really talk about pawpaw.
So pawpaws are not papaya, apparently. It was unclear in my quick Google search in the store, but they were, when pawpaws were first seen, the people who found the papaya, oh my gosh. When pawpaws were first seen, the people who found the pawpaws thought they looked a lot like papaya, so they called them pawpaws, which is like papaya. So we got a papaya just because Walmart does not sell pawpaws. I'm giving you the bad knife, sorry.
All right.
But yeah, so we went with the papaya. We are making Baloo's kind of skewer that he makes himself. And it's just a fresh fruit skewer. We've never prepared a papaya. Oh my gosh, hang on. I want to get an action shot. Don't move. Where's the Deej?
It's on the table.
Deej!
Now, the only thing that was weird about this one was we tried some papaya for the first time because obviously there's not really a recipe for this. We were going based off of the photo and I hated the papaya. I have never had such a visceral reaction to a new food. It was horrible and I hope that the editor doesn't show you, but because I said that right now, I bet he will.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's like bitter.
Yeah, I don't know if we go into doing.
Ew. That's not a joke.
It was not my favorite, but you know what? Again, it was about looks. So let's taste it. But looks-wise, I think we nailed it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Honestly, fantastic strawberry. Shout out to you, Walmart.
It's strawberry season, and all the strawberries
good.
are so good here.
Florida strawberries hit.
Magic.
Well, I mean, magic, I guess.
This is fresh fruit. on a skewer all together.
And you can claim it's a Disney recipe.
I wish we had some like yogurt to dip.
Yeah, yogurt to dip would be really tasty.
Yeah, but again, so fun for like a Disney party to be like, oh, balloon skewers. This took us 5 minutes.
Took nothing.
Magic. The 70s. All right, our representative for the 70s, similar to the 60s, not a ton was eaten on screen, but there is one particularly iconic food scene, and that is in Aristocats. We all watched Creme de la Creme a la Edgar. We all watched Roquefort run out with his wrist-looking cracker and dunk it.
I can't reach it.
And dunk his cracker in the creme de la creme and eat it, and then everybody gets sleepy because it is drugged. We did not drug ours because we are not evil catnappers.
She wanted to do that, but I stopped her.
It was a joke.
I say let's.
I
give it
have
a test.
diphenhydramine in my room. I could believe it right now.
No, it's okay. Cats would go to town for this.
This is milk with cinnamon and it's like different types of milk. Heavier, sweeter milk with some sugar, some cinnamon, some nutmeg. Honestly, this I think is the kind of thing that is super like, if you want to like wind down as like a little like dessert, you could do a warm spiced milk like this. It is nothing special.
No.
I do like it with the Ritz crackers a lot. I like how it clings to the crackers. I think that's a combination of the flour and the sweetened condensed milk, giving it that texture. But it's as loose as milk. You got scared. I knew what I was doing.
There you go.
Yeah, but
Tragic. I would totally.
we haven't had any tragics.
Honestly, I thought Alice in Wonderland cookies would be a tragic.
I thought they'd be tragic as well, but the icing.
The icing saved it so much was a huge win,
Yeah.
and the fact that I don't have a tragic yet, incredible.
I can't believe we don't have tragic yet.
Well, let's see what happens next. We're not done. We've got one more tonight.
It's the 80s, baby.
It's the 80s, y'all. And that means The Little Mermaid. However, there were two options here.
This is actually, I'm very passionate about this one. This is like my favorite thing we're doing on the list.
She's very excited about this, respectfully so.
Yeah. The recipe that I remembered from The Little Mermaid, turns out I was misremembering from the Little Mermaid series.
The show.
Which I absolutely loved as a child, and this is one of those scenes that stuck out in my brain, and just like for my whole life I've remembered this.
Yeah.
And it's Ariel and her sisters sitting at dinner with King Triton, and they're eating seaweed pasta.
Please pass the seaweed pasta.
And Sebastian
Out of
says,
a clam.
"Can you pass the seaweed pasta, please?" And Ariel passes it down to him, and they're eating the seaweed pasta out of a clamshell. So we are going to make seaweed pasta. We're not actually making fresh pasta dough that is like seaweed pasta. We are going to get the visual with some food coloring, but we did buy nori. We do have seaweed, and so we're going to try to create like a buttery seaweed sauce to go on our noodles, and we are going to dye them green so that it will look like they're from the movie.
Now, for the recipe, I kind of got creative here. I don't know. I was feeling inspired. I got excited. And essentially, I'm proud of what I created. But to get there, essentially, I made the choice to boil some pasta, put some green coloring on it, and then toss it with a bunch of different salts and spices.
Oh, interesting. It's a choice that you've made.
I don't know what to do.
I just don't know if that's what I would have done.
Put it all together with some butter, and essentially what I made was garlic, salt, chili, pepper flake, buttered noodles that had some green dye in it. But it can't be a seaweed pasta without some seaweed. So I took some seaweed snacks and I sliced it really, really thinly.
I'm gonna do some seaweed nori. I just got one of the snack packs. I literally had this that sounded worse than it was. I love seaweed as a snack, and I did have some very early this morning while I was putting my makeup on. It just sounded nice.
We used it as some decor. I kind of mixed some in. And overall, I think I will let you see our taste notes in real time, but I was really proud of this one because visually it looked nice, and the taste, well, we'll get to that part.
I love it. I'm not even kidding.
I know, me too.
I'm not trying to like be nice to myself. I really love it. It's just essentially buttered noodles with some garlic salt in it, but I really love the roasted nori flavor.
This is definitely magic. Maybe the most magic thing we've had.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I think so too.
But it's way more complex.
I would think about this and I'm gonna eat it later.
It's more
in my
complex than anything else we've had. Probably
I would make this at home. Probably would, yeah.
Probably got the food dye. My take on this though is the nori makes this something that I'm really excited about as a more like adventurous eater, as someone that like likes more complex flavors. If you take the nori out or just use the nori as a little bit of a garnish, or if you have a kid that loves nori, you have an instant, like super fun Little Mermaid themed dinner that any picky eater is gonna love. And
that is so easily made in bulk. It's not even funny. This would be like the #1 thing I would make for a Disney princess party to feed a bunch of kiddos. It is so simple and easy.
I'm so happy with our work today.
The fact that we made it through today, no tears.
No tears.
Huge win.
And you're going immediately into us talking about some of the stuff we ate tomorrow, so hopefully we're not like bedraggled in that clip. But
we'll see you there. Okay, good morning. It is 11:30 almost. I'm starting alone. Quincy's at the dermatologist and I'm starting on number 9, which is the great stuff.
Coming in with another big year, the 1990s. We felt the weight of the iconic food on our shoulders. I was very nervous. You are talking things like Beauty and the Beast and Mulan, and I know we've all woken up to the thought of hoping that Mushu is there with kanji saying, "Let me see your war face." So we had a lot. We started off with 1991's Beauty and the Beast with the gray stuff. I have made this before. This is a very straightforward recipe, super easy. Ingredients-wise, all you need is some whole milk, a package of instant vanilla pudding mix, some chocolate sandwich cookies, which Oreos, 1 8-ounce container of whipped and thawed topping. You need some instant chocolate pudding mix, some sugar cookies, and edible sugar pearls. It sounds like a lot, but honestly, it's really straightforward. We poured the milk into the mixing bowl, added the vanilla pudding, and we whisked it for about 2 minutes until smooth, a little bit thickened. Once it sat in the fridge, we came back and we placed the chocolate sandwich cookies in a food processor and we pulsed until they were pureed really thinly fine, almost like a sand.
Immediately not working like I hoped.
We folded all of the cookies into that pudding mix and then we stirred it until it was mixed. It at first looked really good and gray stuff, and then it kind of got a little too brown, like it was almost too many cookies. We put it on some Ritz crackers, and it was pretty straightforward.
I think it looks sweet. It's little, but I think it looks sweet. We'll make like a little plate of them.
all right, what's happening? Tell me my mic on.
That's the question. Put your mic on. We are
That's the question.
working on our kanji. We're letting it simmer. We're trying to thicken it up.
In '98, Mulan had her famous breakfast. He was happy to see her, and at this point, I was really scared because I am not the best with eggs, and all of a sudden, Quincy, who said she's never been able to cook, she was really confident in her cooking abilities. I was not as confident in our ability to make a good kanji, so we did not make our own stock. We actually just bought some stock, which I felt very good about. We used some leftover rice that Quincy had, and then we had 4 eggs that Quincy was whipping up. We ended up buying some chopped scallions, and we had some chili crisp as well as some bacon for his beautiful smile. This is where Quincy got really excited about the eggs for some reason. She was pumped about the eggs. Honestly, she was able to put her money where her mouth is. She cooked the eggs perfectly. I ended up cooking the bacon, and all in all, it looked incredible.
He's happy to see you.
This is probably what we are most proud of when it comes to comparing it to the photo, but how does it taste? We're gonna find out.
Ready?
Trying a portion of the 90s.
We divided it up while it's still hot.
Yes.
And we're gonna try a little
But
bit.
this is the Mulan
I'm busting my egg. I'm so
kanji.
excited. I added a little bit of chili oil and some more onions to mine.
I love runny eggs. We bought our stock from Walmart, but you could homemade stock to cook the rice in that I think would add, you could do a lot more flavor with the homemade stock. I'm still gonna go magic on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go magic.
Even though I think at base it's a little bland, it's just like the perfect canvas to work with. And who knows what Mushu put in his.
Love.
Love.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it, but we did try.
Okay, Time for the gray stuff.
Delicious.
It is not, I would like for it to be a little bit lighter because it got gray after we put it in the fridge. But if you want it a little bit lighter, add a little bit more Cool Whip.
We had just used all the Cool Whip already.
Cool Whip.
All right, we already cheers.
Cheers.
But we're doing it again.
I really like it.
Me too.
I'm not even gonna hesitate. I'm saying magic.
Magic.
It's just cookies and cream. Whipped topping is essentially what you make. But it's so light and fluffy. And then putting it on a Ritz was, I really like it on a Ritz. Because it's like a salty sweet combo. But this, but it would be really delicious on like a plain sugar cookie. Or as I've said 100 billion to 1,000 times.
Why can't I think of any other part of that song?
A chocolate cupcake.
I'm very proud of our work in the 90s, but can we keep it going in the 2000s? A small spoiler is we do not know. This was the most tough years that we had. This brought us to the brink of our efforts. And this is where we doubted ourselves the most, I would say, because apparently a rat is a much better chef than me, because we started out 2007 with Ratatouille, of course making Ratatouille. Now, the movie Ratatouille is not necessarily the same as a traditional Ratatouille. Whatever Remy does and however he stacks his vegetables is a very fancy and refined version of the classic dish. So this one is where we also realized we didn't have all of the ingredients we needed.
I'm like begging people not to follow us, like for food safety. Like, go watch a professional do this.
I don't think that's why we're doing this.
No, it's not, but like, you never know. Some people need to be told.
Oh, you mean follow our
Like our what we're doing.
Follow us.
Follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, like and subscribe, but don't follow our instructions for
Don't
cooking.
follow our instructions for food. Learn from our mistakes.
And watch a professional.
Let's go with that. We'll go with watch a professional and watch us, and then be like, oh, I see all the things those girls did wrong.
They shouldn't have done that, those girls.
This vegan dish was actually a little bit easier than I anticipated until the very end. It was pretty straightforward. Had some zucchini, eggplant, yellow squash, a red pepper, red onion, and then 4 cans of crushed tomatoes. Now, the traditional ratatouille is you cube all of these things up, you kind of cook them down, and then you add crushed tomatoes to the pan and you cover it, and you just let the vegetables soften, and then you just make some wells and you put an egg into each spot. Now, that's not what it looks like when Remy makes it. So instead, I cut everything into as thin slices as possible. We had wished we had a mandolin. We did not. And I just kind of started guessing. I started layering it the way that it looked when Remy was layering it and really hoping for the best. And overall, I think it was okay. But I think you'll be surprised by the taste. We'll get to there. Now, Tiana and Remy, I guess they talked, and Remy was like, hey, Tiana, they're making it through. What if we make it even harder? And Tiana said, oh my gosh, don't even worry. I have this handled. So 2009 kicks us off with Princess and the Frog. I attempted Tiana's beignets. The dough was just not right. No matter what I did, it was not right. And finally, Quincy and I made the choice to just cut our ties, cut our losses, try again. So this is when we finally got online and we started looking for more beignet recipes. And at this point, I think maybe Lottie from Princess and the Frog overtook my body and was just trying to do her best. I don't even remember the recipe. I don't know where I got a recipe. I do not remember any of it. I would like to say that it was Tiana that overtook my soul, but if it was Tiana, these might have looked a little bit more uniform. Now, while I was really struggling with the dough, even trying to get any of it to rise, Quincy was working on Tiana's daddy's gumbo.
So I've just Googled how long does it take to make a dark roux?
Yeah.
A dark roux can take 30 to 45 minutes to cook, but it can also take several hours if you want the deepest shade.
Well, I
think we're gonna have like a darkish roux.
The recipe really stressed Quincy out because a roux is hard. I was very scared of the roux. Quincy was very scared of the roux because the roux is the base of your gumbo. And If you do a bad roux, then you're gonna have a bad gumbo.
Here.
Wow.
My arm feels like it's gonna fall off.
That's fair.
I did some chopping, some dicing. I prepared her mise en place, if you will, so that way by the time the roux was actually done, she could just start throwing everything together and hopefully make a delicious gumbo. Now, is this our best option we made the entire time we were cooking for movies? That's for you to decide and for us to taste.
Hello,
Okay,
welcome to
welcome.
2000s. We've been through it. It's 6:30. We've added another day to this video. It was supposed to be a 2-day shoot. It is now a 3-day shoot. We have 6 recipes to get through on
We
tomorrow.
thought you would finish 12 today.
We thought we'd do 12 today.
But we did 8 yesterday. The gumbo really threw us.
The gumbo, the roux, it was specifically the roux.
Making the beignets twice also didn't
The
help.
roux took an hour and a half. Making the beignets twice did not help. And this morning wasn't easy with the gray stuff. The gray stuff was easy.
We did do the gray stuff this morning.
We did the gray
The
stuff
congee
and the
took a long
ratatouille. Oh, I forgot about the congee.
Congee took a while.
Today's been a long day with very few results, so it has been a little bit of a struggle.
However, I think this is going to be our best tasting day.
I also agree. I'm really excited. The food is hot, except for the ratatouille.
But we
So,
ate that hot, so we know.
We did, we know.
Okay.
But ratatouille
It's going to go
time.
in on the top.
All right, will we and honey go flash into the passway?
Vibes on the ratatouille.
I think it's delicious.
I think it's actually very nice.
I think ratatouille is such an interesting dish, and I think it's really interesting they chose it for the movie. I think it's like the whole point is that it's a basic, inexpensive, vegetable-based dish that you would not think is like fine dining. But I think it has those really beautiful flavors that like meld really well. The tomato sauce that Emma made to go under it sort of brings all of the different veggies together, and they just roast so beautifully. And I think your presentation was really good.
Thank you. Obviously, you're going to be your own worst critic.
Yeah.
But I really love the taste. It's fresh, it's bright, it's light, and it was, after you cut everything, one of the easiest things we did today.
Yeah, I definitely recommend trying to make ratatouille at home. Like maybe doing a fun night where you watch ratatouille and make it, because it really is easy. It takes almost no time.
It's a very healthy, veggie-forward option, and if you have some picky eaters, this might be a fun way to try to introduce something.
yeah,
as
because
well.
you could show them ratatouille and they'd be like, well,
Maybe they want to eat it. Yeah. So I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a magic.
Magic as well here.
Okay.
Our other 2000s recipes were from The Princess and the Frog, which understandably grueling. Tiana is the cooking princess. She is a chef. She has her own restaurant. She works hard for it. And boy, we made Tiana's daddy's gumbo.
Well, we also, I want to say that everybody's known Tiana was the hardest working princess. It's
Yeah.
kind of thing. I never understood how much.
Until today.
Goodness.
I don't know that I've ever cooked anything that I had to work this hard for. I literally was cooking that roux, and I have found out that you don't typically cook roux for that long, but I guess it wasn't heating up. I don't know. Whatever.
I did not know that.
I cooked roux for about 90 minutes. It says that you can cook roux for about up to an hour. Mine was still not as dark as the pictures at 90 minutes, but I whisked that roux for 90 minutes. I whisked that roux for the entirety of Beauty and the Beast and into
I
Mulan.
cannot wait for someone to tell us how to whisk the roux.
Please, for the
in
love
the
of
comments.
good,
But
everything
again,
that is good.
Again, we're fragile.
We're
So
fragile.
please
Be nice, but tell me how to make a roux.
Be kind.
Or maybe that's how you make a roux. I don't know.
We'll find out.
I think this is so good.
It's delicious.
It's like, there's no butter in it, but I would describe the flavor as buttery.
I'd say that's the oil from the roux.
It's the oil from the roux. I think that you can really, I think that my 90 minutes to 2 hours whisking that roux really paid off. There's a beautiful amount of spice. The only hot sauce I had is Texas Pete, which is not my choice of hot sauce for a gumbo, but it's adding a good amount of heat. I love all the veggies cooked in.
delicious.
The flavor, because you cook the meat in the same pot and then you build the gumbo on top of the meat's like grease and burned bits on the bottom of the pan. I think that adds such a depth of flavor. This is incredible. Magic, magic, magic. It's like a true magic. So good. Worth the whisking. I don't know if I would have said that while it was happening, but I'm saying it now. Beignet. I think you should eat the one you're so proud of.
Was it that?
That was the that one.
I think it was this one. I was
I'll
gonna
go
say,
for
I
the
didn't
other
know
one
it did.
you're getting called to.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Beignet cheer. You feel okay? No, I've had a handful of these already. The middle is not quite as cooked right here, but some of them were perfect. But I've never fried anything before. It still tastes good though. It's not doughy, it's just not as fluffy as it could have been. At least mine.
I have fried stuff before. I think it's more reflective of the density of the dough than it is your fry method. This is a pretty dense dough, and I do think it's cooked through. It's just a denser dough. These are still really amazing, and I think if you're craving beignets, you're gonna fill that void. They're not as like light, pillowy, like collapsible as beignets, but they are still delicious fried dough with powdered sugar on top. And can you complain? Also magic.
Also magic.
All right, 2000s, you tried us. But came out with magic.
Good morning, team.
Day 3.
Day 3. Who thought we'd be here at this point? Not us.
We thought we'd be at Epcot.
We thought we'd be at Epcot today. We're fine. Day 3.
It's day 3. We have 6 recipes today.
We are going off the beaten path today, and I'm starting with dough for something we're making later because that's going to take so long.
So you look at the dough recipe for bao and for
Scottish
Empire biscuits.
But 2010 Tangled brought us a hazelnut soup. We had to roast the butternut squash and the parsnips and the apple. And I thought, okay, this is going all right. We arranged it on the baking dish, skin side up. This baked for over an hour until the knife finally went through the skin of the squash. And we removed the baking dish, and I thought this is gonna be a great time to just go ahead and start peeling it. It wasn't. It was incredibly hot, and I don't know why I did that. I peeled the squash, we added everything into a food processor, and we pureed it about as much as I could. Poured it into a large stock pot, and then did the same with the parsnips and the apple. I added some chicken stock to kind of help that, but it still was a little bit on the chunky side no matter what I did. So I ended up pouring them all together into the stock pot, and we were just adding some of that remaining chicken stock. We raised the heat up, and it started to boil, but it never was coming to the soup texture that we wanted. This is also where I went rogue with the seasonings. I added the cumin and the salt and the pepper, but it just wasn't hitting for me. So I kept adding to taste, essentially meaning I would add some, taste it. If I didn't like it, I'd add some more. Right before I served it, I added in the heavy cream, and this entire time I attempted to roast the almonds, but it wasn't quite working out. So I ended up getting about 4 solid roasted almonds that I crushed and added for decor on top, but overall, I don't know that the almonds were necessarily worth it. In 2012, I ended up handling the Empire biscuits, and weirdly, this was one of my favorite recipes the entire time. I think I was most proud of this one. It was fairly straightforward. We made shortbread cookies from scratch and a sugar glaze. We only needed 2 sticks of unsalted butter, some refined sugar, fine salt, and all-purpose flour for the shortbread cookies. And then for the sugar glaze, I needed a cup of sugar, some whole milk. We needed raspberry jam and 6 glazed cherries. I was starting to work on this. We finally had made our way over to the shortbread cookies. All was well. I had preheated the oven. We had our trays with our parchment paper. I mixed the butter, sugar, and salt together, and then the dough formed. It was looking good. I was really proud of it. This is when I realized the problem.
We are almost done with our brave cookies.
What?
We just purchased this, okay? I just popped this open. It's covered in mold. So we have no raspberry jelly. And I didn't need to pop it open, so it's been open. And that's why there's mold on the top.
The lady?
And we discussed, do we make a 3rd trip to Walmart? The answer we decided was no. So we used the grape jam that Quincy had already in her house. Now apparently I was carrying the 2010s on my back and did not realize this because it was time for the bao. We did what we could. I made the dough using some flour, dry yeast, and water, and then the filling is where Quincy handled things, and she added together the ground pork, the Chinese cabbage that had been minced, a minced carrot, chopped onion stalk, an egg, ground ginger, olive oil, chicken bouillon powder, oyster sauce, cooking wine, and salt and pepper. I had done what I could. I'd worked on this for hours, and Quincy had to buy a steamer for us, so we weren't going to let anything stop us, even if the dough wasn't right, even if they were too full, and maybe not the prettiest. I added the water to the pot. I placed the bao onto the steam basket. In the end, this was probably one of my longest projects. Required another trip to the store. Didn't even use most of the filling. But how did any of these 3 recipes taste? Let's find out.
First, hazelnut soup.
Hazelnut soup.
Rapunzel. You see her?
There she is.
This was pretty involved.
Yeah,
I think.
and you did this one pretty much by yourself. Also, our one thing to note about the hazelnut soup is we could not find hazelnuts, so ours is topped with almonds. But hazelnut soup has no hazelnuts in the actual soup.
It's just topped with it.
So,
I like a smooth soup. The only chunks I want in my soup, I want it to be like vegetables or proteins. This is more of like a puree.
yeah, we just didn't
Even
have
when
an
we're eating
emulsion
it
blender.
Immersion.
I thought it was emulsion.
I don't know. I thought it was immersion.
I'm pretty sure
You immersed it.
I think it's emulsion because it emulsifies.
Take this part out. It's more of a puree, but I think it's very tasty. It's a great, comforting fall soup. Would not say this is a must make or anything.
No.
But I'm really glad we tried it. I also think it would have been a huge difference if we'd had the onions. But
Yeah.
I love that flavor.
I
So
also love
think-
onion.
But I don't think the problem is the flavor here. Like,
No,
I like
the flavor's
flavor.
awesome. It's just the texture.
And the onion wouldn't have changed
The
that.
texture isn't even that bad though. It's kind of
not
just like,
bad.
this is the kind of thing that would be served as a side at a fancy restaurant.
It's just thick.
Yeah, it's just like a thick, it's like pureed
your
potato
face.
parsnips. It's the
Cover
kind of
your
thing
face.
that,
I wanted them to see how thick it is. Is it gonna do it? No. This is
There it goes, there it goes.
kosher. Okay, there it goes. So this is how thick it is. Like, you can see it's standing up on its own, not moving at all.
yeah, so it's a really thick, it's the kind of thing that like you would get like a fall pork chop at a fancy restaurant and it would
this
be on a
would be
bed
the
of
side.
butternut squash and parsnip puree, which would be this. It's really tasty.
Delicious. That would be delicious.
Yeah, I'm giving it a magic despite its texture.
I'm leaning towards Ajik, I think.
Okay.
I really like it, and what she just described, I would eat in a heartbeat. But I think the word soup is why I can't give it
Yeah.
a full magic.
Yeah,
But it was good. I'm glad we tried it.
yeah.
And thanks, Rapunzel.
Thank you, Rapunzel.
Hazelnut soup.
Our next in the 2010s is the Empire Biscuits from Brave. Another Emma specialty. I didn't touch these.
Yes, these are shortbread cookies with some homemade icing and glazed cherries on top. Now, if you remember, there was supposed to be raspberry jam. However, someone opened our raspberry jam at the store and we didn't notice, and there was mold across the top of it. So it's become a grape jelly.
jam. Grape jelly, yeah. But
So,
they're cutie.
they are cute.
They look like the movie, except in the movie they're actually inaccurate. Empire Biscuits and ours are accurate. I think this is so good.
I wish that I got to try it with raspberry or strawberry jelly.
I love the grape.
Well, I don't love grape, so that makes complete sense. Any jelly, I think, is appropriate in the middle of this, just for your preference. The it's a shortbread cookie. It was so
this is good.
straightforward. It's so buttery. Like, I'm not a massive fan of shortbread cookies, but I think it's because I've not had them fresh. I've always had them pre-packaged, and I just really love how like buttery and smooth and,
And
like
sweet and
slightly
crumbly.
crumbly. I really like it.
I think it's awesome. I think it's fruity. This, I think, would be so fun to make for a holiday.
Oh my gosh!
And I honestly think it's really transferable because it's like you could do this in the summer because it's jam, so it's light. But you could do it in the winter because it's shortbread. So you can do these anytime for like a party. And you said they weren't difficult.
No, this was one of the most straightforward recipes we've had the entire time. So I really liked it, but I still felt like I did something. Like with the Baloo skewer, I was like, I didn't do a thing for
Yeah.
this, and it was easy. But this, I felt like was a great. I want to make a Disney recipe. I want to feel like I've done something, but I don't want to be stressed out. This was very straightforward,
This
and
is
I really
very
liked
good.
it.
And I enjoyed watching Brave.
I really enjoyed watching Brave. This was great. All around magic, no question. I'm gonna take these home.
Finishing out the 2010s, we have Bao. Bao, by the Pixar short film Bao. Emma's labor of love today. Wow, you really handled the 2010s.
love the 2010s.
And I did most of the 2020s.
Yeah, it makes
Except
a lot of
for
sense.
Pratt's.
So Quincy did the filling, but I did the dough and the baking aspect of things. This was the best one we got, I'd say.
Or this one.
I'd say one of these two. Clearly my pinch technique was not it,
But this is a learning experience, and we're
I
not
also
trying to
think
be
that-
the best at this.
I also think your dough maybe had a couple of challenges.
There was a period where we didn't know that the dough would rise. When
she
the dough
called-
rose, we were shocked.
When I went to the store to get the steamer basket that I did not own, we looked in the
That's more
it's
about. It's more about.
It's not about. We looked in the. I called her and I said, "So how's it look?" Because we were so nervous about the dough, and I don't think it's accurate bao wrappers. Frankly, like it's too thick. The dough is too sticky for her to be able to work with. So I think if we ever try this again, we're gonna make some adjustments to the dough.
There's definitely more, I would say more accurate recipes, or maybe just, I don't like an infographic recipe. I'm looking for that Pinterest post.
So you can see here,
recipe.
move your head. You can see here that the dough is really thick, which you don't typically see in bao, any pockets like that. It's still really good though. The flavor's amazing.
I really like the filling. We actually ended up cooking what was left of the filling, and we've eaten it all day. We've eaten almost all of it. It's the one dish we've gone to
We just
town
put it
on,
in 2 bowls.
and we've not shared with anyone.
She sauteed it with a little soy sauce. That was the only thing really that you added, right? Because the seasoning itself is seasoned with a ton of stuff. Like I was adding oyster sauce, and there was sesame oil in there, tons of garlic, ginger, stuff like that. So it was a really well seasoned filling. Loved the filling. I would be eager to try this again because I think it would be fun to work towards getting it right.
I would want to do this again with a different recipe 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
Because I think this was the most frustrated I've been, even including the Sleeping Beauty cake. Because
Wow.
the Sleeping Beauty cake was so early that we could kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
And we knew when to quit and start over and like whatever.
Yeah.
This was truly frustrating because we didn't have as much time today, and we knew we had to finish. And so we didn't feel like we had the luxury to keep starting over.
Yeah,
for a
if we would
2-hour
have had to
rise.
start over on this dough, I would have been like,
I would have been very
I would
frustrated.
have been like, should we buy
I would've-
pizza dough? Or, like I
Yeah.
would have gone.
So I was frustrated with this, but it also makes me want to learn how to do it better. And I think that there are better recipes and better techniques than what I did today.
Did you think we were going to make it to the 2020s? This is our final decade. We did not think we were going to make it here. And this is where Quincy took her time to shine as we were double teaming to try to finish these recipes. We had already gone a day over. We did not know how this was going to go. We started off with 2021 Luca, and we made the trinette alla pesto. Quincy had made this before, so she felt confident in this recipe. It was fairly straightforward. We got this one straight from the AllEars website. We had some pasta, we had green beans, and a yellow potato. And then for the pesto, we had some basil, garlic cloves, coarse salt, parmigiano, pine nuts, and extra virgin olive oil. And then once the water was boiling, we added the pasta, green beans, and the potatoes all to the water at once. Once the pasta was al dente and not too soft, we took it off the heat and then reserved a cup of that pasta water. She placed the pesto into a large serving bowl. She added some of the pasta and the water, and then added the green beans, pasta, and potato in the bowl. And there you go. It was all handled, and she did it beautifully. That's what it looks like to have confidence when you're cooking. While all of that was working out, she started working on the Encanto side of things with Julieta's arepas. Quincy made this, and she honestly struggled with the dough a little bit, but I think it worked out in the end. It was pretty straightforward. We ended up having some white cornmeal, butter, pinches of salt, olive oil, mozzarella cheese, and warm water. It doesn't sound like a lot, and really it didn't take a lot. The oil got really nice and hot, and that's when she finally started adding the arepas to the pan, and she cooked them until they were golden brown on both sides. I actually stepped in a little bit to help with this part while I was waiting on some other recipes, but it only should take about 7 minutes on each side. And then finally, with the one that I think we kind of set ourselves up to fail, we went with kumandra soup based on 2021's Raya and the Last Dragon. We were at the end of our rope here. We had basically none of the correct ingredients. And in the end, I think that showed. The ingredients we needed were some whole prawns, lemongrass, ginger, garlic, coriander, lime leaves, a small carrot, onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, baby corn, Thai chili paste, fish sauce, sugar, and limes. We had to bring that stock to a simmer, and then we were supposed to add the lemongrass, garlic, coriander, and stalks, and lime leaves. We then added some chili flakes, some carrots, some mushrooms, some canned tomatoes in the chili paste. We let that simmer for a little bit until the vegetables kind of softened up, and then that's when we tossed in the shrimp that we had that we got frozen, because let's be honest about pricing here. We let them simmer, and then we added a little bit of fish sauce, sugar, and a bit of lime. Now, did it look good? No. But did it taste good? Well, let's find out.
2020.
What is Luca?
First in 2020 is Luca.
And huge shout out to Team Liquid Ladle, because we did not make it past the Luca movie.
We finished every single recipe, and Luca, it's still at the beginning, actually.
the beginning of
Luca
Luca.
just got back to his family after going to the Surface Without Bitter for the first time. So we didn't even get to watch Raya and the Last Dragon or Encanto.
And we're not even upset.
And we're not even upset.
because we'll watch it when we're not cooking.
Yep.
So here's
This has
our...
been sitting out a minute.
I really like this dish. I cannot believe I'm gonna say this. I would have liked less garlic.
That's insane.
Only because this was very ripe garlic, and I love the pesto, like the nuttiness flavors of pesto to come through.
Yeah, something about this garlic was ready to
This garlic
rock.
was probably a little bit past its rockin' dates and wanted to prove a point.
Yeah, so it really did overwhelm the pine nuts in the pesto. I loved it, but it kind of landed on like a really aggressive garlic basil pesto with not as much pine nuts, which sometimes, I don't know if I ever told you this, we make pesto from scratch sometimes, and we make it for fry.
Oh, because she can't have pine nuts.
So we just leave the pine nuts out, and you can still make a pretty good pesto without pine nuts, even though it's a pretty integral ingredient. But there's pine nuts in this. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it a magic for sure. This is one of those pasta dishes that isn't super flavored. Like, it's a basics pasta dish. And I think that and it's also not overly cheesy. There's cheese in the pesto, but that's it.
Yeah.
So I think when you see it in Luca, you're like, oh my gosh, that's bursting with flavor. But it's really just kind of like a really pleasant, mild pesto flavor outside of the dragon breath garlic that we did add today. And it's got potatoes and green beans, which are pretty starchy, mild vegetables. So I think this is actually a very I would think this would be a pretty crowd-pleasing pasta.
I was gonna say very safe option.
It's obviously green, but I think even with picky eaters, it's also one of the easier things we did. Like, obviously
Oh my
pasta
gosh,
dishes
yes.
are easy.
This was the fastest thing today
Yeah,
out of everything.
it was a little too fast, honestly.
Well, we looked down and it was done.
Yeah, and if you bought pesto instead of making your own, I mean, literally a 10-minute weeknight dinner.
Yeah.
So that's what's awesome.
Magic.
Next we have Encanto. Julietta's arepas. Now these do not have magical healing powers because Emma would not let me put the sleeping medication in the creme de la creme a la Edgar, so I didn't put any magical healing properties in the arepas.
I'm almost done. It kills me. No, it makes me nauseous. Okay. We had these hot. At the time of eating, they were very cold. Two different experiences. I have an opinion. I don't think we're gonna agree.
Really? I'm magic on these.
Okay, I'm magic.
Uh-huh.
I'm magic on this because it's very cornmeal heavy. I would have wanted something like a little bit more cheesy. Like if we were just doing this for fun, I would have looked over at her and been like, you need to add more.
Yeah.
But obviously we're trying to follow the recipes as closely as we can, if we have the ingredients. And
It's
we did
foreshadowing.
for this one. We did for this one.
Yeah.
But it's not bad at all. I just think there are probably better recipes.
It's just like this recipe was a little light on the cheese. I think it has, the cornmeal cakes have mozzarella in them. And my favorite bites that I've had of this were when it was hot, there were a couple of chunky butter pieces in there and it was crazy good. I'm not big on arepas and cornmeal dishes in general. So I knew I was gonna be magic on this.
All right. Drum roll, please.
Our finale, Kumandra soup. Now, let's see. Kumandra soup is fictional, which is good because we've done a bad job here today.
We have done, I'm gonna say this before we even taste it. We don't know what it tastes like yet. Neither of us have tasted this.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be our worst.
This might be our one tragic.
This might be our one tragic. We went to a Walmart, and sometimes the international section at Walmart just does not have everything you need. It depends, especially like on your local produce and things. We don't have a lot of the things we need.
So we were running with a lot of substitutions here, and on top of that, this was, though a recipe from an actual Malaysian-born chef, it was an Instagram infographic recipe.
It was, and we were reading it, and I would read things one way, and she would read
we were
things
like
another
misreading
way.
it. It also, the cooking times, at least for my stove and my pots, it was like, you know, soften the veggies for 3 minutes, but I had carrots in here, and I can't soften veggies on my stove in 3 minutes. We also had, you know, peeled shrimp instead of full prawns, so we had to make some substitutions there. This is not tom yum goong.
What we're saying is we did a bad job.
We did a bad job, and Walmart did not help us.
And this in no way reflects on the recipe or the chef who created it.
No.
Oh.
Tomato? I'm scared now. Why did you make that noise before I took a bite?
No, go ahead.
That's not very...
The acidity of the lime mixing with the heavy tomato flavor and the chili paste plus the shrimp just did a lot of like the lime was almost tart, like sour.
Yeah, I would call this a sour soup.
But is it meant to be?
Have you ever had tom yum? Tom yum's a little sour. It's a lot fishier than this. It tastes nothing like this. But there are similar things with tom yum here, which is the acidity and the fact that it leans on the sour side, and there's the chili paste.
The chili paste, I think, is actually saving it for me.
Yeah. I am gonna go tragic here.
Tragic.
I don't want to eat more of this, and I think we've done a bad job. So a fail on the commander soup. Our one tragic was our big finale.
And it was our fault.
Yay! Well, I think we knew that was gonna be the case.
I think we knew what was going on.
Yeah. So
What was your favorite thing we did?
oh my gosh, the gumbo.
I really loved the gumbo.
Wait, on taste or on process and
Just
taste?
everything.
Overall, gumbo for me.
Overall, I would say probably I really liked the Empire biscuits.
I like the
I
Empire
think it's
biscuits
just because
too.
I had low expectations. I did not expect to like them. And then the fact that it was a nice process that was straightforward and they tasted good and we both were surprised that we liked them. That was very exciting for me.
Yeah, I think honestly I'm in general like I felt like this was a really positive experience. I think I learned a lot.
I loved this.
I think that it was so much fun to try to cook things I'd never even tried cooking anything like before, and baking. I think it was fun trying to replicate the presentation of the movies. This was a blast. I'm really proud of us for what we've accomplished. And if you guys ever want to see something like this again, if you want to see us replicate Disney Parks food or more Disney movie food or any other food recipes, maybe Disney Dreamlight Valley recipes, then you can let us know in the comments.
And we'll do a better job next time on buying the ingredients.
And also we'll just improve because we'll have more experience under our belt.
Yeah.
But if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And now if you want to see us frustrated in Disney World, you can go watch Last to Leave too.
We'll see you there. Bye.
He's so talented. Like, why would people not want to marry him?
Marry Geppetto, maybe?
Why can't Geppetto have kids?
I mean, maybe his wife died.
Well, that's horrible. Do you know my favorite part of every day is getting into bed at night? I love the blue fairy. I love fairies, though. I want to go to Pixie Hollow. You played that Pixie Hollow game growing up?
No.
You didn't?
No, Tinkerbell was kind of past my time.
Me too. Sophia the First was past my time, but it doesn't mean it's not a classic.
I would not consider Sophia the First a classic.
Now, what is Jiminy? I know Jiminy Cricket's his conscience, but what is his role prior to Pinocchio's awakening?
He's a cricket.
He's just a cricket?
He's just a cricket.
Who lives with Geppetto?
No, he like shows up at the very beginning. He like bounds in through the window.
But why?
Because
And he's just living with him?
just like bugs live in your house probably.
Oh, I'd hope they'd ask consent.
They don't. They're bugs.
They should.